So now we are going to say about halophytes. We know what is halophytes. We have in the class we have discussed about what is halophytes, definition for halophytes, isn't it? So we have to look through it. Yes. So halo means what? It is a what? The term is precisely defined. Not much, okay, but you can say that 0.5 percent of salt concentration at any stage a plant can live. Okay, so they instead of growing in a ordinary soil, they are being in saline soil or saline habitat. Okay, so the plants get exclusively grow on salt soil. Okay, so that is the term halophytes means. Okay, so that is, so we all know the what there are nematophores. They are negatively geotrophic, that is they are against the gravity. Negatively geotrophic are breathing roots. Another name for nematophore is breathing roots or what nematophores for gaseous exchange. So one of the ideal character that has been shown by mangroves is the vivipary. What is vivipary? The seed will germinate when it is in the mother plant itself. Okay, when the fruit get fall off, before that itself, when the seed is in the mother plant itself, they start germinating. So they, in their leaves you can see lot of salt glands. That is why they can live in saline rich areas. So these salts are accumulated in the salt gland. About 3 points we have to remember from halophytes. That is, one is nematophores or breathing roots, gaseous exchange. Next character is vivipary. Vivipary, what, germination of seeds within the mother plant, and the fruit will break off from the plant. So before after germination only they will get break off. Then salt gland, plus the presence of salt gland in the leaves. In the leaves you can see the presence of salt gland. Okay, you can classify the halophytes based upon the substratum. Okay, based upon the substratum they are classified. Litho means what? On rocks and stones. Swamo, that means they are growing in sand. And what about pilo? Pilophilus, that is in mud. Chilla mannil, that is mud. Okay, and Helophilus in swampy areas. Somewhat like what, muddy like. Okay, so ചതുപ്പ് നിലം അല്ലെ, swampy areas. Other it is again being classified into salt swamp, salt desert, littoral swamp. Okay, that much detailed classification is not needed, but you should remember this terminologies, because one time for 1 mark this has been asked. What is swamophilus? Swamophilus means the plants that is growing in sand. Okay, that will be asked like that. So don't skip those names. Yes. So now, based upon the salt tolerance, the plant has been classified into what? Salt escaping. Okay, salt escaping, and you have salt evading. Okay, salt resistant, and salt enduring. Okay, so this is the classification of halophytes based upon salt tolerance. So classification is very important for xerophytes, and so for hydrophytes and all we have learned classification of plants, right? So what is salt escaping? They escape high salinity by fixing their root into non-saline areas. That is in rainy season. Rainy season the water get what? Miscible. The salt get miscible with salt water, and the level of sodium chloride get decreases, isn't it? So the sodium pump that has been working in the is also being regulated. So that it get escape from high salt conditions. Okay, high salt conditions, especially they will be moving to the non-saline areas. The root is moving to the non-saline areas. What about salt evading? Salt evading means what? They will have, they will reduce, or they will make the salt concentration very low by storing it in vacuoles. Okay, vacuole regions they will store it and reduce the salt concentration. That is we are calling as evaders, just like our Avicennia plant, that is mainly seen as a mangrove in majority places. Avicennia, Rhizophora. Learn some name of mangroves. Avicennia, Rhizophora, Exocaria. All these are the examples for macros. Now salt resistant, the term itself is saying whatever be the high internal salinity, whatever outside is having very high salinity, because of the mucus secretions and all, it will decreases the saline concentration. So this can reduce the high internal salinity, and this reduction is done by the mucilage secretions that is seen in the cells of the plant. Okay, that is also example for salt resistance, Salicornia. Then you have salt enduring plants. Salt enduring means they are tolerating because they are having hard protoplasm. Very hard protoplasm is there, so that they can tolerate it. They can tolerate it in high level. Okay, so based upon the salt tolerance, the plant is classified into salt escaping, salt evading, salt resistant, and salt enduring. This evading, enduring, all terms we have learned in xerophytes also. So you can compare the classification of xerophytes and what halophytes and all. Now, based upon response to salinity, you can classify it into obligatory halophytes. That is, they are completely obligatory. Okay, they are obligatory. They are dedicated. They survive only in, they can only live in saline condition. That is obligatory. Now you have preferential. What is preferential? They can grow both in saline and non-saline areas. Okay. Okay, they can grow both in saline and non-saline areas. What is occasional? Just like a function, just like a function, they grow in saline habitat only occasionally. Some kind of drought condition. They can only live for, in some occasions, they can live in saline condition. What about supporting? Supporting halophytes, they grow well in non-saline soil and remain unaffected when they are introduced into the saline area. Okay, that means they are normally, they are non-saline. പക്ഷേ when we place that plant to a, when we place that plant to a what non-saline, I mean saline area, they are being not at all affected. They are happy with that atmosphere also. So they are very flexible person. So what are the adaptations? That is an important point. It is having prop root and slit root for anchorage. Okay, pneumatophore is there that I have told you. Vivipary, pneumatophore. Okay, for gaseous exchange. The stem is very succulent. It can store more water and mucilage and increase salt tolerance. They have thick hairs, very hard, no, their stem. They have thick hairs which can reduce transpiration. And the air chambers for floating and there are air chambers are there seen inside. It helps for buoyancy. So these are the morphological adaptation that you can see. But what about anatomical adaptations? You can see that in this root, see this is a very hard layer, you can see, isn't it? Root, multi-layered cortex, you can see, multi-layered cortex. Okay, in that multi-layered you can see lignified cells, oil is there, tannin is there. We are extracting varnish and all from, varnish is a kind of tannin that is being, you can see in mangrove. Majority you can extract tannin that helps for polishing purpose. Then you have pneumatophore with lenticels. See the tannin cells, see the lacunae, see the phloem, cambium, metaxylem, protoxylem, oil drops, spicules are seen there. Okay, oil drops are there. And metaxylem and protoxylem, then you have cambium and you have phloem there. As usual, vascular bundles are there. But inside that, all these structures, you can see additional structures like starch grains are there, spicule are there. They are reserve materials. Tannins are there. Okay, so the outer cortex and inner cortex are what fulfilled with the lignified cortex, oil, tannin, starch grains, spicules, oil droplets, everything you can see inside the cortical areas. But what about stem then? What is the condition of stem? Stem is also having thick cuticle with the epidermis, multiciliate hypodermis. Okay, inside that you can see parenchyma, because for buoyancy we want this thing. Okay, there are a calcium oxalate crystal and also sclerids are there, just like our nymphia. Sclerids are there. Xylem and phloem as usual. Okay, you can see lacunae. Lacunae, certain grabs are there. Vacuoles are there. Inside that spicule, you can see. Spicules are some another supporting agent and also storage organ. Spicules are there. Okay, thickened part. Okay, so these are some of the important features that you can see in the anatomical modification of stem. Thick cuticle epidermis, multiseriate hypodermis. Okay, heavy thickened spicules you can see. Sclerids are branched. This give mechanical strength for the plant. Lacunae, spicules, xylem and phloem as usual. Well developed vascular tissues can be seen. Okay, calcium, oxalate crystals, sclerids, all these are seen in stem. What about leaf anatomy? Just like xerophytes, you can see sunken stomata. That is an important thing. Okay, just like xerophytes, compare and study. Just like xerophytes, you can see sunken stomata, thick cuticle and epidermis, calcium oxalate crystals, just like in stem. Okay, since there is water storage areas are there. Okay, and because there is a salinity, they are making the plant non-saline, decreasing the level of salinity inside the tissue. There is water storage area, and mucilage is also there in palisade tissue. In leaf, the mesophyll cell, you can see palisade and spongy. You can see the sunken stomata. See in the lower epidermis, you can see the sunken stomata. They are deeply seated. Hypodermis region. Okay, so mucilage cell is there. Then water storage areas are there. Then tannin, oil, calcium oxalate crystals are also been stored in the what palisade tissues. Okay, so that is understanding of leaf anatomy. Xylem and phloem, as usual, they are giving us. They are also well developed. Okay, physiological adaptation is a very important point. Repeatedly, I'm saying for xerophytes, hydrophytes, and for halophytes also this point is very important. Comparison, they will ask. So, for that, high osmotic potential helps for maximum water absorption. So, they are having, since the salt particles are filling inside the leaf, you can see cells, there is high osmotic potential. So, maximum water has to be absorbed. Salt is being converted to crystal. In Avicennia and all, you can see in the leaf top, you can see lot of salt crystals. Okay, the cells are succulent. Why the cell is succulent? Because it store water, it can dilute the salt. So since the leaves is having leaves on the top of the leaves, you can see crystals. That is salt glands. Okay, it can excess pump the salt back to the soil also. That means good phenomenon they are having. Okay, inside the plant cell you can see high osmotic potential. That means high salt content you can see. Then so glycerol is also been accumulated. So vivipary is an important phenomenon, that is to avoid harmful effect on seed germination. A vivipary, that is inside the mother plant itself, it will undergo seed germination. So that these are some of the points of physiological adaptation of a halophyte. So halophytes, there is high osmotic stress is there. Why? Because of the lot of struggles or salt rich molecules, both sodium chloride I have seen, that has to be accumulated inside the plant tissue. So many plants are showing, many halophytes are showing salinity tolerance because of their regulated behavior, their ion transport, their rate of photosynthesis, then sodium, calcium pump is there, their operating functions, succulent nature that can store the water and dilute the salt. That is also an important point. So these all points make the plant salt tolerant also. So that is the basic understanding of what our halophytes. So these are the examples. There are a lot of examples showing nematophores, just like Rhizophora, Avicennia. All these are the examples that you should understand. Okay, Avicennia. This is a very good plant. Okay, Avicennia marine. Marine. This is the plant. Okay, that yellow color flower, no? ഉപ്പുച്ചെടി എന്നൊക്കെ പറയും. See like this, you can see. Inside on the left leaves, you can see a lot of salt glands. This is Rhizophora. See that prop root and slit root and all you can see. This is the prop root. Okay, that is giving anchorage to our area. So if you have any areas like this, you just have a visit on it. Okay, that's it.